Okay, I'm so excited about what's happening in September. Tell folks.
September 13th, you all, our first ever Raising Boys and Girls Parenting Conference called Raising Capable Kids.
We're going to have all brand new content. You and I are going to teach multiple times that day. We've got some incredible friends we've invited, good food, great coffee, all the ingredients for a perfect day.
Tickets are going fast. Hop on to raisingboysandgirls.com, link in the show notes, and get yours now.
Welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast.
I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas, and we're so glad you joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in. Dr. Caroline Leaf is a clinical and research neuroscientist who specializes in psychoneurobiology, the science of how the mind can change the brain. She's known for pioneering techniques that help people manage stress, overcome trauma, and break toxic thought patterns. Through her best-selling books like Switch on Your Brain and her podcast, Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess, she offers practical tools for building mental clarity and emotional well-being.
And you all buckle up for this episode because Dr. Leaf has so much rich wisdom, practical information, and she jumps right in. Dr. Leaf, we are so delighted to have you on. We both have admired your work for years and are so excited for you to be a part of our series on back to school. So we'd love to jump right in.
Okay, you talk a lot about helping kids clean up their mental mess. What does that actually look like in daily life for a child heading back to school?
We can learn to manage our mind. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay if mom and dad loses their temper, but they don't stay losing their temper. They've got a solution. So it's okay if I get a little bit upset, but it's not okay if I stay there. It's not okay if my big sister stays there. There's a way to get through this, as opposed to, oh my gosh, there's a behavioral problem. They suppress it. They're messing around. It goes into the school environment. They get labeled with ADHD. They're on medication. They've got symptoms. Meanwhile, that's the TikTokification of mental health. That is the parents being so concerned, not judging them at all, but so concerned that I've got to do all this for my child, literally forcing parents to become helicopter parents. And I have a whole chapter on that in this book, which is not healthy, but our current models and social media are creating so much pressure on parents, so much parent guilt, that they don't even know what to do with themselves. So that's why this book, to help themselves, this process to help themselves, you help yourself. Automatically, your child is going to say, I want to do that. Teach me, mom, in whatever way they do.
Thinking about continuing to go back to kids and thinking about school starting and all of the pressure they're facing, the friend drama, the emotional stress that kids are under, and wanting to move towards resilience. So what would you say we can do to help kids develop emotional and mental resilience? And you're speaking to so much of that already.
Absolutely. Well, the neurocycle, which is this 5-step process that I teach in this book and in my app, and I reference it in here as well and do many versions of it in here. That is how you get yourself into your wise state. So in our mind, we have our conscious mind, which is very messy because it's learning, and it should be messy because that's how we learn and process. But guiding this messy part of our conscious mind is our guiding mind. So it's kind of like a toddler and a parent. So consciously, when we are processing life, there's this messy part that gathers data, and then there's this guiding part that is guiding that gathering of data. If you don't have that guiding part, just think of a toddler without a parent. I mean, just, we know what's going to happen. So think of you when you lose your cool, get frustrated and feel under pressure. It gets very messy in your thinking. Now, whatever we do in our mind, the mind controls the brain, not the other way around. The mind is not the brain. The mind and the brain are separate. So whatever happens in your mind, the mind first processes and then puts it into the brain, and it becomes a protein network with chemicals and proteins and energy and all that stuff. Not only in your brain, but throughout your entire body. This is why we get a sore stomach when we're anxious and all that kind of thing, the whole mind-brain-body connection. So when we feel under pressure, we feel it in our entire psyche. So something comes in from outside, going back to school, pressure. This is all the data that's coming in. There's another part of our mind called the non-conscious, N-O-N, not unconscious. That part of our mind is It's amazing. It's perfect. It can never be damaged. It is your best friend. It is real wisdom. It's your intuition. It's your reasoning, logic, creativity, and it is connected to the source of wisdom, which I like to say Godness as opposed to God, so that we see the bigness involved. Now, that's the part of us that's literally this. We know we've got the solutions. We find the problems. We've got the solutions. But the conscious mind is the workhorse. So the non-conscious mind absorbs life, neutralizes most of it, absorbs the experiences of going back to school. It all goes into the non-conscious first. And the non-conscious then selects out the main issue that is for you uniquely as an individual that is a worry. So maybe for one child in the family, it is that bully that they're terrified of. The other one, it is maybe a very perfectionistic child and they really want to do very, very well this year. Maybe for the other child, it's the fear of having to make new friends because it's a new grade. So it's different. So your non-conscious knows all of this. It identifies that intrusive, toxic sort of pattern, thought, as that you have from the anticipation of going back to school and the pressure it's creating. Then there's also mom with her and dad with her, his unique issue around the whole, new holiday and now back to school and routine and all that stuff. But not only does our non-conscious wisdom have identified the issue and it's there, but it also generates the solutions. And I say solutions because there's many ways that we can learn to manage. There's not one way of managing one thing. There's many ways and you're going to find your unique way. So here's this, I'm scared of going back to school for whatever reason, but here's also, this is how I can manage it. But it's not automatically conscious. Okay, so it's first of all, it's in the non-conscious mind. Then the non-conscious mind will put the problem and the solutions into the subconscious, which is like a doctor's waiting room. And then that filters through a signal. So now I'm getting in the car to go to school and I'm feeling anxious and pressurized and scared. And there's the swirling images of that scary person, that whatever it is. So there's all these signals, emotional, my tummy sore, emotional, anxious, worried, my body, my tummy sore, the behaviors, I'm just going to not say anything in the car, or I'm going to be snappy or difficult, or I'm going to refuse to get out the car or whatever. And then perspective or mindset, which is, I hate school. I don't want to go back to school. I'm scared to go back to school or whatever. And so those signals come through, but they come through as a whoosh and they're experienced as a sensation because we live through our nervous system. So we generally feel our body reaction first, and then there's this conscious, messy reaction and these thoughts are swirling. And I say all of that to say that if that's not managed, we are going to feel very swamped and overwhelmed. So and this may sound like a very tall order, but knowledge is power. And to understand, even if you understand, we've got this big part of our mind that's brilliant and God's guiding it, and that's where all our answers are. And we've got this other part that gets kind of messy. And what we've got to make sure is that the messy part always works with the very organized, perfect part, or whatever you want to call it. And if I start feeling very anxious and worked up and I ignore that and I just get mad and get a sore tummy and don't say anything or don't do anything or just get reactive or angry or whatever, then I'm not going to be able to cope very well. But if I can know how to calm down and breathe and do a little neurocycle quickly, you can do it in 60 seconds. I can then get back under control, and then I can connect the different parts of the mind. And now I can find the answers. I'll be able to cope, and I may not have the answer right now, but I'm going to feel better going into school and whatever. So it's an accumulative process. Now, this may sound highly intellectual. Why do I explain this to kids? This is what I did, was very simplistically, obviously with your 2 and 3-year-old, you can show this you can demonstrate, I give ways of how you can demonstrate. Point being is that don't underestimate your children's brilliance. They want to know why. You know that as therapists. If you just tell them do this, they're not going to do it. But if you tell them, well, if you do that, you're going to make your brain work better. So here's brainy, this brain needs to work better. So you've got to help this brain work better. You've got to help your brain work better. Your brain doesn't know what to do. So you've got to tell it what to do. It's that kind of language. It empowers a child. They feel that you take away that hopelessness. You have a plan as a family to deal with the pressure. And big thing to parents, it's okay to show that you feel under pressure. It's okay to say, obviously language appropriate, detail appropriate. But if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, there's just so much to do today, say it. Don't pretend it's fine. Don't smile, I'm fine. Your kids know you're lying. So what they see is
Yes.
They read body language better than an adult, as you know. And so therefore be honest, but don't stay there. Because if you suppress that, it's going to come out as resentment. It's going to come out as irritation with your kids. And then they model that. Just yesterday I was talking with someone whose husband is really difficult, and long story short, the kids are seeing this mother giving into this narcissistic relationship. I said, well, that's not helping your kids. You're teaching them to do the same thing. You're looking all pretending, so the point is you don't pretend. Be honest and then give them a solution. And you need knowledge for that. So have these, respect your children's intellect. Drop it to their level. I'll give you the wording, but explain what's happening. Get your language going for these concepts. You'll work out your own languaging. Give them that knowledge, demonstrate the techniques, get it out, give them a way to move through. And then you will find that you handle the pressure. So it's, how do I do it? Technique, etc.
Yes.
Does that make sense? I said such a lot.
So
That's
good.
so helpful.
It's so good.
And now we're going to take a little break to hear from one of our sponsors who makes this podcast possible. Okay, let's play a word association game. I'll say a word and you say the first thing that comes to mind.
I'm ready.
Coffee.
Yes, more, please. Sorry, that was 3 words.
Well, thanks to the folks at Everyday Dose, you can say yes and have more. Everyday Dose has the classic coffee taste you love without the nasty side effects, plus added benefits. No crash and no jitters.
Just clean, sustained energy. Coffee Plus is a mild roast, light and smooth, low acidity, which is easy on sensitive stomachs, mellow energy.
Coffee Plus Bold is a rich blend of medium roast, 100% Arabica coffee. Robust and full-bodied yet smooth. Extra boost of energy.
Both are 100% Arabica coffee, have functional benefits, and are mold-free. Everyday Dose does third-party testing.
Get 45% off your first subscription order of 30 servings of Coffee Plus or Bold Plus. You'll also receive a starter kit with over $100 in free gifts, including a rechargeable frother and gunmetal serving spoon, by going to everydaydose.com/RBG or entering code RBG at checkout. You'll also get free gifts throughout the year.
That's everydaydose.com/RBG for 45% off your first order.
How much did we love growing up in the 70s?
Oh my goodness, the Brady Bunch.
Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
Grease and Star Wars. So many great things, but we might have missed the mark on nutrition and safety. Eating Pop-Tarts for breakfast, riding bikes without helmets, and no seatbelts in the backseat of the station wagon.
And maybe on hair and skincare. Too much Aquanet, too many perms, and baby oil was the sunscreen of choice. But Jolie is helping us out now. Jolie is a beauty wellness company that purifies the water we shower in for better skin, hair, and overall well-being.
Jolie's filtered showerhead is best in class for removing chlorine and heavy metals. It's the only lab-tested and clinically trialed filtering showerhead on the market.
Clinically proven to reduce hair shedding in 81% of people. Lab tested to reduce hair frizziness by 40%. Lab tested to maintain color retention. Lab tested to protect the hair's surface layer. We sure could have used them in the 70s.
Jolie still gives strong water pressure, which is very important to me, and fits all showers as the plumbing pipe size is universal.
Jolie will give you your best skin and hair guaranteed. Head to jolieskinco.com/RBG to try it out for yourself with free shipping.
And if you don't like it, you can return your Jolie for a full refund within 60 days. No questions asked.
And now back to our show.
What would you say to the parent who already feels behind?
I'd say it's okay to not be okay. I say that you're feeling what 99% of other parents are feeling, that none of us ever feel we've got it together. That we all feel guilty, we're all battling. And I do think, I'm 60, nearly 62, and I don't know what ages you two are, but I know that and I've got 4 kids, and I know that it's harder now. We've got 2 grandchildren, my eldest daughter has 2 children. And we were just talking earlier on, in fact, about parent guilt. I'm doing a whole podcast on the different kind of guilt. Parents have always felt guilt, but there's a definite difference in pressure. Every generation has their issues, but the whole technology and lack of mind management, there's tremendous pressure on a parent to perform. And so so here's the thing, you do not have to perform. The best thing you can do is sometimes, just told you to get these materials, but say, throw all the books out and don't listen to any social media and follow your gut and then come back in or read something, find these techniques because whatever, that just find what works for you. Get some understanding of what's going on. The mind-brain connection understanding will free you tremendously. But then follow your instinct to be authentic and to recognize that every parent out there is under the same kind of pressure. It's unrealistic at the moment.
Yes.
And that guilt, don't let that override you and wipe you out. Use it as data. Any of those negative emotions, it's pure data because it's not who you are. It's who you're trying to be because social media has told you you're supposed to do that. And the parent in the car next to you is doing all these things and looking at you funny because you're still working. I mean, I had that all the time. I've worked my whole life. And, these mothers that would judge. I mean, I'd walk out the car and I could feel the daggers, why are you working as a mother, sort of thing, which is ridiculous, but it happened. The thing is you need to be authentic. You need to be you. You need to take this pressure off yourself. And the more authentic you are, the more you've learned to manage yourself, the better your child will come to you with their issues, relate with you, bond with you, and you'll feel so much better. Don't listen to what everyone's telling you to do. You follow your own gut instinct, which is pretty good to follow. So it's okay to not be okay.
Amen. Thank you for that reminder. Well, we want to talk a little bit while we have you on here as an expert in neuroscience. Will you talk about sleep, exercise, nutrition, how those play a role in kids' mental health and brain function, and how we can set them up for success in those areas?
Absolutely. So I'm going to give you the short answer, but there's a chapter on those topics in both of these books.
Okay.
So this one from a sort of parent helping a child and this one from you helping. So basically, there's so much fear around sleep.
Yes.
And there's so much incorrect and misinformation around sleep. And every wellness guru and doctor, and I'm not criticizing anyone, I'm just saying that it's like, first thing, you must sleep. What we know from neuroscience and from psychoneurobiology, which is my area of speciality, which is the mind-brain-body connection, is that the more you worry about something, the worse it's worse than actually not.
Oh, that's so true. Yes.
The first thing is stop worrying about sleep. Just stop worrying, full stop. It will come when you relax. Your child will eventually sleep. The more pressure we put on ourselves they must go to bed. And obviously routine is vitally important and getting them into bed at a certain time. But you know what? Kids will go through phases of not being able to sleep because there's things going on in their life that are scary. And, social media has brought bullying into the home right up until bedtime. So yes, definitely I'm all for cell phones, but I'm all for management. And, you don't want them reading some scary post that someone's being nasty to them or sending them ugly texts just before they go to sleep. Because bullying is, it's not just in the playground anymore. It's in our bedrooms. So that will affect sleep. Anything that's going on in the mind that's unresolved is going to affect sleep. So if you have a system in place, if you've got this organized system that I've suggested, you've got a way of managing life. If life is feeling unmanaged, your sleep is the first thing to go because you get through the day because the day is busy, and then you lie in bed and then you start going into that non-REM state, and boom, these things just fly up, and then these kids from exhaustion will go into sleep, and there'll be a non-REM to REM sleep, which dream is the dream sleep. But what happens is the cycles shorten between them, and when kids are having a lot of nightmares, they don't stay in the time between the non-REM and the REM gets shorter and shorter and shorter, and you've got to have the right cycles and whatever. There's a whole science there. But the biggest thing that disrupts the non-REM REM sleep, and we actually wake up more than 100 times a night, but we're not even aware of it. Besides the sleep cycles, the worst thing for that is worrying about sleep and worrying about your child not sleeping, because they'll pick up on your worry, which will make them sleep less. And when they do sleep, it won't be restful enough sleep. So you all need to chill about sleep. Really, that's a big, big, big message. And then the other thing is that having a system in place to manage mind is going to set you up for sleep for the day. So I have a whole section in here of how you can start good sleep when they wake up in the morning. There's a whole cycle. So if sleep is an issue, there's a whole process you can do. And then for the parent, I have a whole chapter in here on resting versus restoring, and how we need to, what restoring actually means, et cetera, et cetera. Another thing that's interesting about sleep is that we've had the 6 to 8 hours shoved down our throat for way too long, and there isn't very good science on that. It's very much up to, we do need a few hours of sleep, but it's very different for every child. And like one child at 7 hours is perfect. Another one needs 7.5. Another one may need 4. And it also, it varies over what's going on in their life. The other thing that people have incorrect is that you can't ever catch up if you've lost sleep. I mean, these are all such scary things. You don't sleep, you're going to have a heart attack, you're going to have inflammation, you're going to have every autoimmune disease, you're going to have cognitive issues. That's enough to freak any parent out. First of all, let's put that aside. Secondly, let's get our mind under control. Let's start that in the morning. Let's have a system for managing life. And then let's get some facts. Facts are that hours of sleep has not really been established. It's different per culture, per environment, per child. It's somewhere between 6 and 9 hours. We know that babies need somewhere between 14 and 17 hours. So it's something in that range. So to force, oh my gosh, my child only had 6 hours of sleep, they can't cope, etc. Other thing about sleep is that school starts too early. Our cycles don't. Our our wake-up cycles for kids, they're not ready to really work at 8 o'clock in the morning. They're only really ready to start working at about 9. Yet most school starts around 7:15. So if that's all that can happen, schools, I did a lot of work in schools and education environments here and in South Africa for years. And one of the first things I would do is say, okay, if you can't change your school time, you can change what you do in the first 2 hours of school. So if you want a productive day, you need to start the day differently. Start with reading kids' stories. You read them stories, you teach deep thinking, you counter overthinking, you manage your mind, you deepen creativity, intuition, imagination, and all of those create a whole brain flow and a whole change in your physiology that they will be able to do the math lesson and all that kind of thing so much more effectively. So it's those simple changes that we instituted in schools throughout this country and in South Africa. And we saw immediate change in children's functionality and in their sleep, etc. Nutrition, I can go on for hours about sleep, but that's enough. There's a lot more. The less processed the food is, the better for you. The less chemicals in the food, the better for you. We do know that there's a strong link between how a child's brain and body will function when they eat a lot of processed food. We know it. It's all over the place. So that is real. So whole food, organic, grass-fed, farm to table, I know it's more expensive, but you don't need as much because of the fact that it satisfies you much quicker. And there's a lot, Costco and all these places now have been so great, and Target and things where you can buy much better, less processed food. So those things, cook at home, make cooking a whole activity for your family. The good old stuff. We used to all help our mothers cook. We need to reinstitute that, get away from the TV dinners and, get back in the kitchen as a family, use it as a bonding time. And it sounds so old fashioned, but it's good science. It really is to do that kind of thing.
Well, that's a great lead in even there to what would you say is what's one more practical shift a family could make this week to create a more mentally healthy rhythm at home?
I would spend the time helping your children to understand what the mind is and what the brain is. I know that's a big ask, but the mind is you. It's your spirit and soul, and your brain and body are doing it basically whatever's happening in your mind, which is all your thinking, feeling, and choosing. That's what goes into the brain and the body. And there's this part of our mind that's so incredibly brilliant, and we need to get into that part because that's where we're going to get good guidance and we're going to make good decisions and we can train ourselves to understand that. And then I would definitely help a child to understand in this day and age that it's okay to not be okay. That if you feel sad, that is okay. If you're feeling angry, that is okay. If you're feeling jealous, that is okay. But it's not okay to stay there. So let's talk about it because I know you're not jealousy. I know you're not anger. I know you're just showing up like that because of something going on. So let's talk about it. So it's not letting those things become scary. Careful as well about what you say in front of your kids about them. They really do know when you close the door, you have that conversation with the teacher. And if they ask you, what did you say? Don't lie. Give them a version that they will understand. Just say they've, whatever's picked up this problem, or we notice that this is going on in your life. And always stress, we know this is not you. We know that this is going on because of something. That's probably one of the wisest things a parent could do. We know this is not you. We know this is going on because there's something going on in your life. So those are things that you could implement quite quickly.
Thank you so much. This has been so helpful and practical and informative.
Yes.
It has been a wonderful conversation. And we would love for folks to know where they can find and follow all the things that you're doing, all the good you're putting into the world.
Thank you so much. All my social media handles are Dr. Caroline Leaf. I'm on every platform, so whichever one they like, they can find. We put out stuff all the time to guide people. My podcast is called The Dr. Leaf Show, so I break these down into 30-minute or lots of lessons on there and help on there. And then my webpage is Dr. Caroline Leaf. We've got a store there, but you can buy my books everywhere books are sold. The only thing you won't find on Amazon is the little brainy character and the coloring book. Those are only on our website. So if you're interested in getting those, they're on our website.
Well, thank you so much for the difference you're making in the world and for the time with us.
Thank you. And there's one more resource that might be very useful for parents. I have an app called the Neurocycle, and that's available at iTunes, Google Play, where you get apps. There's a web version. And there's actually that it's the whole Neurocycle, that literally me giving you therapy. And then there's a section on there, how to help your child, which basically matches some parts of this book. So there's also that resource, depending on which resource people are most comfortable with.
Great.
Dr. Lee, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a joy to get to meet you. David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible. Chris Starrett, our engineer.
Our management team at KCH.
And we are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.